Okay, so in today's class, we're going to take a look at a Part 1 writing task from the proficiency exam, the C2 level Cambridge exam. And, well, what does it say? It says in Part 1, read the two texts below, write an essay summarizing and evaluating the key points from both texts. Use your own words throughout as far as possible, and include your own ideas in your answers. So we're going to read the two texts now, and then we're going to have a look at a sample answer written by Roland, and we're going to see how well we think he has answered this question. Text 1, eating together. It is often said that a pleasure shared is a pleasure doubled. And who can deny that conversation around the dinner table provides opportunities for a family or friends to share their happiness, express their feelings, and learn from one another. Meals taken together foster warmth, security, and love, as well as feelings of belonging. This unifying role that food can play in our lives can be seen on a much bigger scale too. Many cultures have rich culinary traditions, and the distinctiveness of the quality of their food can be a powerful source of pride, strengthening a sense of cultural or national identity. So for me, the emphasis in this first text seems to be on the idea that food is much more than just food. It focuses on the role that food plays in our lives and how it affects us sociologically, culturally, and psychologically. Okay, then, so let's have a look at the second text, Food, Glorious Food. In today's undeniably stressful, fast-moving world, the increasing popularity of convenience food should come as no surprise. Despite the warnings from doctors about the possible health risks of such food, it is all too easy to pop something in the microwave every day, and in so doing, miss out on one of life's great experiences, which is cooking fresh food. Not only does preparing homemade food give satisfaction, and the results taste immeasurably better than the tinned or packaged variety, but, more significantly, it gives an opportunity to display care and affection through hospitality shown to guests. So in this text, the author seems to be lamenting the perceived loss of traditional cooking, which, while perhaps not as convenient as today's microwavable ready meals, was certainly more beneficial to us in a whole host of other ways than the junk food that we eat nowadays. Okay, let's have a look at Roland's answer then and see how he got on. Okay, our eating habits. The overarching theme of the two texts is our eating habits. We relish eating together since our troglodyte ancestors settled around the fire. This habit has remained intact from generation to generation. However, the 21st century has witnessed loosening of this tradition. Okay, so Roland has given his essay the title Eating Habits, and in the first sentence says that the overarching theme is our eating habits. I'm not too sure that it is. I would argue it's more about the role that food plays in our lives. Also, a small problem I have here as well is this introduction. I feel in the introduction we shouldn't really mention the texts too much. The introduction should be, well, to introduce the topic that we're going to talk about, and then in the subsequent paragraphs, we refer specifically to the text that we're analyzing. Small technical problem in the second sentence. We relish eating together. Well, it should be we have relished eating together since, of course, since we have to use a perfect tense, our troglodyte ancestors settled around the fire. I think this idea of eating together refers mainly to the first text. This habit has remained intact from generation to generation. Yeah, again, I would say that those two sentences are what the author of the first text is concerned with. In the second text, I think the author is more worried about what we're eating. I would say the overarching theme is the role that food plays in our lives, not necessarily our eating habits. However, the 21st century has witnessed a loosening, I would say, of this tradition. I think that could possibly, I think, refer to the second text, definitely, that junk food and ready meals have seen us lose our traditional ways of eating, absolutely. Though I'm not sure the first text said anything along those lines. Okay, let's go into the next paragraph then. The author of the first text highlights the importance of the conspicuous advantages of eating together and underlines the social benefits which can be derived from eating together. When I think about a family dinner, I conjure up an image of a big table surrounded by relatives, and I easily summon up the tastes and the feelings. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. I'd say that first sentence is very, very good. The author of the first text certainly does highlight the importance of the sort of obvious advantages of eating together, and also mentions some sort of deeper meanings, no social benefits, which can be derived from eating together. A bit of repetition, I guess, with eating together being said twice there, but I don't think that's a big problem, really, because we're kind of emphasizing what the author is saying, so I wouldn't say that's problematic. The next sentence, though, which is where I stopped, a couple of problems here. When I think about a family dinner, I conjure up an image. Well, I don't conjure up an image because something conjures up an image in me. So I would say when I think about a family dinner, it conjures up an image of a big table surrounded by relatives. And then, okay, I easily summon up the tastes and the feelings. Yeah, I'm not sure about the end of this sentence here. I easily summon up the tastes and the feelings. Something doesn't quite sound right about that. Perhaps we could say something like, I am immediately reminded of all of the different tastes and feelings. I think we want to make, you would want to make yourself a passive subject in this sentence, because the image is conjured up and you are reminded. It's not like you're actually doing anything easily that requires some effort. So yeah, I don't think the end of that sentence sounds quite right. Okay, the father is trying to exert control and discipline over his insouciant children, while the mother is scooping out warm soup into balls. Into bowls. Yeah, I think I got thrown off by the word insouciant there, as I pronounced it incorrectly. So insouciant, yeah, into bowls, not balls. Okay, so I like the image that is, being conjured up in my mind now, yes. The father is trying to exert control and discipline over his insouciant children, while the mother is scooping. I'm not sure we scoop ice cream. I'm not sure you can, do you scoop something liquid? I think I would probably say is ladling soup, perhaps. Serving soup into warm bowls. I know what you're trying to say, but I feel like we don't say scoop if it's a liquid. Yeah, I think I would say the mother is ladling warm soup into bowls. The mouth-watering homemade meal can be a perfect pretext for meaningful social interaction. A family dinner is the most conducive platform to announce significant upcoming events. So maybe a technical error here. The mouth-watering homemade meal can be a perfect pretext. I would probably say a mouth-watering homemade meal can be a perfect pretext for meaningful social interaction. I think that's very good, and I think we need to make sure that we understand that the author also says that, and that it's not just your own idea. But yeah, very, very good sentence there. The final sentence, while it is certainly a nice idea, I think it's something very specific, talking about how a family dinner is the most conducive platform, I would say, from which to announce significant upcoming events. Well, it's a nice idea. I'm not sure it links very well to the text. I think we needed to mention somewhere in this first paragraph the fact that it's not just about the family and close friends and that kind of environment. It also goes deeper than that. You did mention the social benefits, but I don't think we've covered the fact that it can be a source of national pride, or can be an important part of our culture. So those are the one or two things that I would mention there in criticism. Okay, let's move on. The writer of the second text compares and contrasts homemade food with fast food. Yeah, I think that's what he's doing. It's a criticism of, or it's telling us what we lose or what we have lost with the convenience of fast food. Nowadays, we are fully aware of the low nutritional value of junk food and the potential health risk which it poses to us. Excellent sentence. It begs the question why we prefer fast food despite the obvious drawbacks. Okay, I would link that to the previous sentence. So first of all, a small technical thing here. It begs the question of why we prefer. I would say it begs the question, therefore, bearing in mind what we've just said, it begs the question, therefore, of why we prefer fast food despite the obvious drawbacks. Right? Okay, pretty good sentence. Just that small technical problem there, I think. I make no bones about it. Convenience has become the major mover in our lives. Now, see, the thing is, I think we're getting into your opinion too quickly here, into Roland's opinion too quickly here, because we haven't made it clear yet what the text says. We haven't really paraphrased much of it at this point, and we're already getting into the conclusions that Roland draws from something that we have to assume hasn't been read by the reader. So that's a bit of a problem. Anyway, sadly, many people are willing to sacrifice their health for the sake of convenience on the altar of comfort. But if someone invites us for a dinner, we suspect this person has an ulterior motive. Okay, so that's going very deep. Really well-written sentence. Again, I'm not sure how pertinent it is to that second text. I don't think the author suggested anything like this, really. Certainly nothing to do with ulterior motives or things like that. Or that we have an unhealthy suspicion of traditional meals. I don't think that's what is being said. I think the emphasis is more on what we have lost from the convenience. So it is certainly the first part of that sentence. I would agree. Many people are willing to sacrifice their health for the sake of convenience on the altar of comfort. That's an excellent way to describe it. The second part of the sentence, I think, is a little bit too Jungian, or I don't know, very deep. But okay. Moreover, we shift our focus onto overly important issues such as gender equality and individualism. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what the suggestion is here. Is it that we have shifted our focus over onto overly important issues? Are we saying that they are too important, or that we have made them too important? Right? If the latter is the case, I would word that differently. I think if we read on, it does become more clear. So, today many women opt to climb the career ladder in the fervent hope of breaking through the glass ceiling. Okay, yeah, I can see how all this is relevant in a longer discussion. While the inclination to eat out has been waxing, making food at home has been waning. As a result of this hectic life, fast food appears to fill the holes in our society. I feel really in this second part of this paragraph, we're trying to discuss too many different topics. These are all valid points that could be made in a longer discussion about our eating habits, but we must try to stay focused on the text that we're talking about and give our opinions only briefly in reference to what has been said in that text. It's certainly true that many women are climbing the career ladder today, and of course traditionally that was less the case, and we're now more focused on gender equality and individualism rather than sitting down together and filling the traditional roles that we did in the past. That's absolutely right, but I'm not sure that we have enough time to go into all of those things. And then in the next sentence we're talking about how we're eating out more, and we're cooking at home less, and that is the result of the hectic life that we lead. It's like we're jumping around trying to talk about all the different reasons as to why we're eating junk food more than traditional cooking. And it just feels like we've forgotten about the text, and we've gone a little bit all over the place in looking for an explanation as to why things are the way they are. In short, I would just say we've lost focus a little bit here. Anyway, let's take a look at the conclusion. In conclusion, eating together has many advantages. However, the social aspect of this tradition should be taken into account. A family dinner can lend itself to a fruitful conversation. We should bear in mind that we are social animals. I'm not sure why we're using the word however here, because I don't think that contrasts what we've said in the first sentence. No, it has many advantages. Eating together has many advantages. However, the social aspect should be taken into account. Well, I think we are talking about the social aspect now, the eating together. Yeah, absolutely. A family dinner can lend itself to fruitful conversation. Again, I feel that the conclusion, in the same way in the introduction, isn't really focusing on the most important thing about the two texts. The fact that we are social animals, I think, is pertinent to the two texts, absolutely. That's probably an overarching theme between the two. For me, in my conclusion, what I take away from reading those two texts is, first of all, that they're complementary. They are written perhaps in the same vein, along the same lines, with similar ideas. I think what I take away from the two texts is the fact that we sometimes ignore the importance of food in our lives, whether that be in terms of what it gives us socially, eating with family and friends, what it means to us to have an identity, perhaps even at a national level, as mentioned in the first text. And it gives us food for thought, for want of a better phrase, as to what we might be losing when we don't appreciate food for what it is. No, particularly in the second text there. So perhaps we all need to be a bit more aware of what we gain from traditional food and sitting down and taking time over meals, and, well, at the same time, yeah, what we gain, which is basically convenience for a fast-paced life with what we often call junk food, but convenience food, no? TV meals, ready meals. I think perhaps we need to weigh up for ourselves the importance that food has in our lives. Are we viewing it as just a necessary, as something that is necessary to function, necessary for life, like breathing, like our heart pumping, or are we viewing it for what it is in its entirety, what it truly represents? I think that's what the two texts want us to do. They want us to evaluate our relationship with food. Anyway, I think we have pretty much finished today. I'd be grateful to get some comments on this essay or feedback of any kind. So let me know what you think.